Well, hello. So I wanted to ask about the full moon and Jupiter and this recalibration and just the pain and the need for rest. So, what are we learning? Or how can we better pay attention to our bodies? To listen, to change the things we need to change. Okay, so I got one, just the root of stones. In this deck, the root, I believe the root corresponds with, actually, let me just look real quick. It's at the top. So the root in this deck is dedication, practice, putting in the time. When I look at this, it's interesting to get this particular card in the winter because as you can see, there's new growth, right? And there's a little bee or spider baby right here. Stones is the same as pentacles in this deck. So, see what this has to say. I pace myself and nourish growth around and within me. It is a bumblebee. How you work so diligently, tending to your endless fields of love. Bumblebee reminds us that a sacred relationship to work brings bliss. While doing her sacred work, she helps all of life on earth. When your path is meaningful to you, you are aligned with your nature and are also helping the whole, similar to our bumblebee. It's interesting that spiritual, material, and personal gain requires steady care and steady practice. The journey can be so full as our steps strengthen our character and time itself becomes a part of our history. The journey and consistent effort are nourishment for our roots, our foundation. This is steady work. If you fall off track, the present moment is a good moment to regather your spirit and jump back in. Everything has its own time. This card simply directs us toward noticing the great benefits of being dedicated. Take a look at those pollen-filled little legs. She is not overburdened or heavy because it is love she carries. She is driven by capital P purpose and even naps on the flowers, pollinating a bit while she rests. Discover your balance point. Bumblebee can help. Spend some time with the energy of this card and give yourself the space you need to pace yourself. What are your callings? What projects or goals have been providing you growth? Have you been tending to your fields of love with enough dedication? Do you have a healthy work-life balance? Is it time to pace yourself or draft up a plan? Celebrate your hard work and focus. If those feel like they're missing, celebrate your passion and desires. Love yourself for what you are now and envision your roots growing. So it's interesting that this card comes up because I was having a conversation with one of my friends on the phone this morning, and we were talking a lot about change and transition and restlessness and feeling like this space, like the physical space of where we're at, isn't quite helping us evolve in the same way. It's like our soul is calling out for roots elsewhere. And then, of course, with purpose, it's like we can feel a sense of purpose in our everyday life, but still there's something lacking, something that's deep within and it's recalibrating itself. So I just want to pull a card from the Animal Spirit deck as well. So again, what is it that we are refocusing on? And two came out. And these are very interesting cards. So I got the Vulture, which is all about repurposing, right? And releasing and the process of getting rid of like the negative and like letting it go back into the earth. And then I also got Raccoon, and I've never gotten this card before, so I'm going to jump into the book to see. I know that what's interesting about Raccoon generally is like raccoons are very adaptable. They're very flexible. They're able to live in multiple environments. They're able to maneuver, manipulate those environments. So that's kind of what jumps out at me regarding those two cards. So let's start with Vulture. Guardian and Purifier, essential for rebalance, right? And we know that winter is a time to really digest things that have been going on in this year. Has been unbelievably challenging. So the vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. When in balance, clarifies, reveals wisdom. When out of balance, dramatic, aggressive, and like those words in of themselves kind of feels like this transit with the moon, not the moon. We just had a full moon in Gemini, but no, it feels more like Mars in Leo retrograde and like really going within and just like rebalancing our own stories and trying to see where that vitality within us lies. And then to bring back into balance, we have Clean Your Space and Sage. That feels very much like it is a card for me personally. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but it's definitely a lot of disarray. So let's look into Raccoon. So where would you be, my dear Raccoon? Probably this way. All right, talented, shadowy, and hiding. Raccoon energy is at play within all artists to greater or lesser degrees. At best, it indicates talent, tenacity, and skillfulness with a particular musical instrument or creative tool. Its shadow side points to an unresolved issue around self-image and success, recognizing our own self-worth and being authentically ourselves, regardless of what's at play outside of ourselves. Sometimes using a stage name or wearing a mask works in an artist's favor. Other times, it limits creativity. Am I who my audience thinks I am? What if I am ready to grow into something more? Raccoon energy won't let us off the hook until this creative ego fear is resolved. When in balance, generous friend, exceptional artist. When out of balance, competitive, starving artist. To bring into balance, make new works, or allow new works to come into expression. I have one more card because it fell out at the same time as the other one. And here we have from my other deck, the Two of Cups, which symbolism in this card is pretty straightforward, right? We have the cups spilling outward and then going into the mouths of the people. We have this gorgeous plant here in the foreground, kind of balancing. There's a lot of balance in the energy of this card, just like looking at it. And cups, of course, is water energy, which is emotions. Just the feminine waters. Let's see here. Two of Cups. Interesting. I am worthy of nourishment. I am worthy of connection and care. I am worthy of love. This feels connected to the raccoon. Connection and sacred space are created by you or by two. The drops of water falling forwards or towards the forehead are representative of intellectual and spiritual awakening. The cups and waters are symbols of the gentle pouring and exchange of emotions. Here we trust completely and commune openly. This bonded is depicted like a mirror image to signify the calm, healthy reciprocity of loving union. Perhaps more importantly, it represents a sound relationship with self. The simplicity of the scene taking place in the spirit realm, where bonds are made and cared for, reminds us of the potency of vulnerability here. We're all deserving of love. Don't be afraid to be your authentic self and nourish yourself. Trust, caring for, and acknowledging the parts that make up the whole allow you to be closer to your truth. So what I'm getting from that too is like a deep witnessing of self and of the fragments of self. Yeah. Take a moment to sit with and embrace this pure, refreshing water. How does it feel to be nourished? How does it feel to receive, to give? What aspects of your life are fulfilling this reciprocity, either with another or within yourself? This may be a time to notice potential connections, either new or existing, or it can be a nudge reassuring you that you are held. Have you made time for this kind of spiritual embrace? Are you communicating honestly in your relationships with yourself? Take deep breaths and filling your chest with love. Yes, we can feel it. If you have bells or meditative sounds, feel free to sit with the image of this card. Close your eyes, breathe, and chime your bell to help bring you into intentional space of love and care. So there's a lot of integration going on, I think, with a lot of these cards, because we have like a root here, which isn't suspended. It feels suspended right now. It feels like the work that we're doing, like that this might be the outcome, and that this has more to do with the space we're sitting in and looking at those wounds within ourselves right now. And then just like that release coming out through the vulture energy and like really digging deep into those parts of ourselves that feel fragmented, that feel hurt, and trying to purify almost, to cleanse those stories, to take the deposits, to make the soil fertile again. With raccoon, this feels like something that we have yet to express, something that's been building underneath the surface, whether that's energy, whether that's like in communication with another human or in communication with ourselves. But overall, these cards definitely speak to like a waiting, not a waiting, but like a going deep within, to kind of reconfigure everything, to sit and feel through and process those old stories and that energy so that we can get to a point where we feel like a new bloom and a new beginning is possible.